This is Oceron, or the artist formerly known as the Great Roberto. It's never gonna die, never. Okay, anyway, what this is gonna be, let me just close my door, I'll be right back. Okay, yeah, I had a lot of light coming in from the window in the other room, so. Okay, what this is going to be is sort of an update to the Sexual Mastery series. And for anyone who's watched those videos, and what those videos really are, is just basic introduction to, tantric, Taoist sexual practices, controlling your ejaculations, and the other one was how often to ejaculate, frequency, Since then, so much has changed in that area. I mean, oh my God. Because at the time of those videos, my record was something like, I think it was like 13 days. And then shortly after making the second video, I reached my record of 14 days. Okay, huge numbers, right? 14 days without ejaculating while engaging in sexual activity. That's the important part. This isn't about abstinence at all. Well, I was going along like that for a while, and but since then, currently, just to give you an idea of where I am now, I'm currently at 51 days without ejaculating. Okay, and the last time I ejaculated was like December 7th or 8th, and then the streak right before that was 43 days. So so like 2 back-to-back, record breaks. And the last time I ejaculated before that time was like October or something, So, I mean, huge, and things change powerfully. I mean, once you, again, the backstory, just to cover the backstory, I was sort of stuck in a pattern of, I was kind of stuck in it like a 10-day window of time, because what would happen would be, as I said before, is I would get what I call the blue ball wall, and that was at 10 days. Exactly 10 days it would happen, never fail. As soon as I hit 10 days, I would get blue balls after a sexual experience without ejaculating. Every fucking time it happened. So I would just sort of use that as a cue to ejaculate, because blue balls suck. So I would either so that's that. But then I just sort of gained more knowledge through research and stuff like that, and I came across a lot of things, and one of them is a great site on the internet / Facebook called The New Tantra, and the guy Alex Vartman, who runs that, seems to really know what he's talking about. I've watched a couple of his videos, and he seems to be really good. And but he has what he calls the 21-day challenge. And when I first became aware of the 21-day challenge, I was already in record-breaking territory. I was at something like 17 days or something like that when I first heard about that. He has what he calls the 21-day challenge, and that's to go 21 days without ejaculating while engaging in sexual activity and all that. But what begins to happen once you get deeper in time without ejaculating, you start to discover some amazing changes in who you are, in your being, from not ejaculating. You literally almost develop, superpowers, if you want to say. I know that sounds insane to say that, but it really is true. I mean, you change. I mean, this energy that flows through your body is so beautiful feeling all the time. I can feel it right now. It just is it's this fine, subtle energy that is just amazing, and it feels like divine. It's like ecstasy all the time. As a matter of fact, it reaches a point that I can move through the world and get into a state of sexual ecstasy without even touching my dick. Like, especially walking barefoot. walking barefoot on the earth especially, but walking barefoot at all, it's so easy to get into a high sexual state of sexual ecstasy just by doing that. But you can do it with your hands too, to anything. But it becomes very easy to do that the longer you go without ejaculating, because ejaculating really what ejaculating is what I call a sexual mistake that is only useful for procreation. And somewhere along the line, humankind got addicted to ejaculating, because of course it does. Well, it does feel good if you don't know any better. Let me emphasize that, because as it is now, I can't stand ejaculating. I can't stand it. I hate it because it wipes you out. It sucks the life literally out of you. It's your sexual energy is what they call, all the mystical terms for energy, chi, kundalini, all this stuff is sexual energy, and by squandering that energy by ejaculating it you're literally throwing your vital essence away, and it fucking sucks. As a matter of fact, on the last run, when I went 43 days without ejaculating, that was a huge record break, because before that my record was 14 days, and then I went from 14 to 43. It's just... And then, of course, what happens is you begin to forget and stuff like that, and so one day I just got the urge to ejaculate, so I did, and oh my fucking god, it was like getting hit by a fucking freight train for days. I've said before, when I was, last year in 2014, I was in a frequency phase of 7 days. That was my target. My target at the time was 7 days. So I did really good last year, really good. Even without, knowing what I know now, but for where I was in my knowledge and understanding, I did very good last year with it. But I was in the 7-day frequency. I would target 7 days, and I would try to go over 7 days, but I would usually hit the blue ball wall, and then, of course, I would ejaculate at around 10 days. But then, again, like I said, through research and gaining knowledge, I discovered that, wait a minute, I'm just going to push through the blue balls. I'm just going to fucking push through the blue balls and not ejaculate, and change, and make my mind up not to ejaculate. And that's what I did. Oh, incidentally, just as a side note, if you want to know what to do to help alleviate blue balls, blue balls sucks, but it's worse if you wear boxer shorts, which I do. I wear boxers, so blue balls and boxers are a fucking, nasty combination, because your balls are flopping around, and if you got blue balls, it's fucking everything hurts, But one way to help alleviate that is to wear briefs. So if something happens and I get a case of the blue balls, what I'll immediately do, if I can, is put on a pair of briefs, and that helps take the pressure off. It helps a lot. So, because I use briefs, because I run sometimes. I run sometimes, like jog. So I wear briefs when I do that too, because I don't want my balls flopping around when I run. So if I get blue balls, I'll put on briefs, and that helps. That helps you to get through it. But really now, and then through research, I realized that I really don't want to ejaculate at all. My target this year is to only ejaculate once this year. It was going to be once a month. My mind was sort of going to be once a month, but again, through what I've discovered and learned, I'm not going to ejaculate at all. And before anyone listening to this chimes in with, what science says or studies say, studies don't say shit, because any study that is done in academic perspective is going to be because people just don't know this shit. A lot of people don't know this stuff. A lot of people don't know that you can separate orgasm from ejaculation. As a matter of fact, orgasm and ejaculation are two different things. It just so happens that so many people ejaculate as soon as they begin to feel the orgasmic sensations in the body. The mind makes the connection that they are the same thing, and they're not. And they're not at all. As a matter of fact, I mean, ejaculation has nothing to do with sexual ecstasy at all. Ejaculation is for procreation. Sexual ecstasy, ejaculation doesn't even need to be there. You know, I have no desire or wish to ejaculate at all, no matter who I'm with. If I'm, with myself or a lover or whatever it is, I have absolutely no desire to ejaculate at all. So, because it's unnecessary. You don't need to do it. I mean, it's not only is it unnecessary, it's unwanted. As a matter of fact, from my perspective now, ejaculation ruins the sexual experience because it just, you take this super high energy and it's like falling off a cliff, and you are wiped out for days and weeks after. But it's really bad for days. Like the first week after you ejaculate, especially if you don't ejaculate often, you're just a shell of who you were. Because honestly, it is like moving through life with superpowers. It's really how powerful it is. I know people are like, oh, that's bullshit, blah, blah, blah. But that's the way it is. It is the way it is. Try it and find out, and you'll be saying the same thing. But anyway, so that's that. I'm, moving through this thing, learning, and I say Tantra because it's just easy for people to understand. Tantra is just, is linked and associated with sexuality and stuff like that. But it's very powerful, and, ejaculation is not the goal. Ejaculation, like I keep saying, is only for procreation. You want to procreate? Oh yeah. Anyway, back to the I know we're kind of bouncing around a little bit, but some studies will say that ejaculation is good for your prostate and you should do it and this and that. But again, that's dealing with someone, because the alternative is for the lay person, for the normal person, is you have sex, you ejaculate. There is no separation from, there is no separation from a tantric orgasmic experience where you don't ejaculate. So for anyone who has sex, the goal is to ejaculate for a person who's not in the know. So you have sex, you come, boom, that's it. So anyone doing studies would be from someone who does that, of course, normal sex, or someone who abstains from sexuality completely, who doesn't get into the sexual state at all. So, so you can't even compare. You can't compare at all, because in, the tantric modality of sexuality, you're reaching extremely high levels of sexuality. I mean, you are revved up. You are in this divine, transcendental sexual state that is beyond euphoric. It's divine in a godly sense. That's how good it is. And you do so without ejaculating, and you keep that energy flowing through your body for days afterwards. I mean, it just builds and builds and builds. I mean, and this gets into sort of, this could be a super long video because there's so much to talk about on this topic. I mean, I may have to break it down into compartments and just focus on one thing at a time, because I'm sort of bouncing around with this. But that gets into the religious perspective of what it means to, a lot of the religions, especially the Abrahamic religions, they say don't come, don't ejaculate, don't have sex. It's not even about not coming. It's about don't have sex because of this. It's whatever. As a matter of fact, a lot of people may not know this, but that's why men are circumcised, so they won't ejaculate. So they won't masturbate. Because before the introduction of lube, the way people, if you have the hood, if you have the foreskin on your cock, you don't need lube to masturbate. You can stroke that thing and fucking masturbate like that. I was circumcised as a baby. I wish I wasn't, but I was, so I have to, I had no say in the matter. My parents certainly had no way of knowing, back then. I mean, they would have just like, oh, okay, they would have probably said something And I think what they do say is, oh, it's for cleanliness. Oh yeah, it's clean. Fucking bullshit. That is absolute bullshit. Circumcision is and always has been to keep boys and men from masturbating. But now the question is, what is that? Why do they say that? Is that a perversion of the secret knowledge, if you will? Because this is secret knowledge. This is powerful knowledge. This is occult knowledge. This is powerful power. This is not only powerful knowledge, but I would argue the most powerful thing you could ever learn to do, aside from silent meditation. That's how powerful it is. This is no joke power. This is superpower. This is divine. This is the gateway to God consciousness. This sexual energy that you cultivate and develop through non-ejaculatory sexuality. That's how powerful it is. You know, it's the two most powerful forces or energies in the universe are silence, which is meditation, and sexual energy, which is the product of silence. You know, the alpha and the omega. You know, it's amazingly powerful. I think I might have to stop this video because it's getting long, it's rambling. I was going to get into, I'm going to give you a teaser of what my next video is going to be about. Maybe. The importance of ass play, for lack of a better term, in cultivating your sexuality. I'm not going to get into it now. I want to really bad, I do, but if I do, this video will get super long. But the importance of ass play in your sexuality, I'll get into the whole story of that on a separate video.